G'day guys, I finally got myself a winch. This is the Adventure King's Dominator Xtreme 12,000 pound model, so should be able to get a patrol out of any tricky situation without having to rely on my friends again for every other situation. So I hope to put an end to that. These winches have a pretty good reputation from the research and opinions I've got from other people. They seem to, with the correct maintenance, run for quite a while, and the warranty seems not too bad for the price that you're paying for one of these. What I have found out is a lot of people complain about the quality of grease that's used in these and also the quantity. There's not much, so it will do bugger all for keeping everything nice and lubricated and cool. So today I'm going to be unpacking the clutch and the gearbox assembly, removing all the old grease and then putting in a good quality marine grade grease, which is being recommended to me by a few other four-wheel drivers and mechanics. So yeah, if any water gets in there, the marine grade grease is just going to work a little bit better to stop it all mixing together and turning it into a mush. Hopefully no water gets in there. So yeah, let's get unpacking. There we go. Let's hope with the winch installed we have a bit more luck too. Alright, so from in here, what do we have? We have on the inside of this bad boy, it's included, we have the in and out remote controller, so that's going to plug into the control box. We have the fairlead, the guide, an instruction manual. So what do we have? Okay, we then also have the control box here with obviously the positive, the negative, and then I think this is the ground onto the actual winch. Comes with a whole bag of nuts and bolts and what looks to be like the wireless remote controller thingo. What else? And then we have the shackle, the hook that goes on the end, and then also looks like a negative extension lead. Again, there'll be another video coming of me actually installing this onto the car and grinding out some big holes out of my bull bar. So this is the bad boy. Whoa. How beautiful. The winch looks pretty well built from the first impressions, but it's the inside that I'm a little bit concerned about. So on the side that has the clutch is the gearbox side. On this side, this is the side of the motor. So say after a year or two of use, don't quote me on this, I'd pull that out, sand down all the metal connections and brushes and whatnot. But because it's new, don't really need to worry about the motor. We'll worry about the gearbox, which has the bad grease inside it. So we're going to start pulling this apart by just doing all these little bolt heads. It should slide off the end pretty easily. Okay, so from undoing, I think it was 8 or 9 bolts. This end just wants to pop straight off. Which this is the inside. And you obviously have this little seal gasket, which you cannot forget to put that back on at the end. But this is the the bugger all amount of grease that they use in here. And as you can, it's very jelly-like. It's not as smooth and free-flowing as the grease that should actually be in here. And I'm not sure if you can hear that, but you can hear metal contact, which good quality grease should dampen that sound, so you shouldn't hear it as good as that. So I'm going to be pulling out all this gearing, pulling it out of there too, just taking out all that red grease and then putting good quality marine grade grease in it. Okay, so for today I'm going to be using the King Chrome marine grade grease. I'll start off with the outer casing, and that's just I guess the drive shaft. Then these 3 orbital, we then have another 3 orbitals, and then just the inside which has this little, so I'm just going to be taking off all the grease off this. I'll probably leave those in just so I don't get the order mixed up of each of those different teeth sets. And then I'll also pull this one out. Again, another orbital spline. So once all that's out, you can see this black thing is just the inside of the rope barrel. So I'll just take all the grease out of there. It's actually a lot simpler than what I first thought. So I'll just be wiping all that out, and then I'll just reassemble it in the correct order. So let's just start with this. As you can see already, this is a side that I haven't even tried to clean out, and there is bugger all grease there. So want to get all that nice and clean so we don't have the new grease mixing with the old grease. So yeah, this set did have a little bit more grease, but still nowhere near as much as what it should have had. Oh, this whole thing comes out. How good. Now I haven't seen an official video released from Adventure Kings or 4-Wheel Drive Super Center on how to maintain the Dominator Xtreme. I know there is a video for the Dominator X, so the inside is a little bit different just because the braking capabilities of these winches are different, and it's pretty much just been an internal remake just to make the winch last longer and function a little bit better. Okay, here you can see we've cleaned up most of the internal components. There it doesn't have to be the prettiest. I'll still probably work on the inside a little bit more. Same with this. This is pretty clean as well. So we'll just end up just packing it with this marine grade grease, and it should be good. Now I'll just work with this. It's a green color, and you just want to get it on a good couple of fingers and just spread it all around the inside. Don't want to do too much, but you want to do more than what's originally been put in there from factory. So let's go around the whole outside, making sure it's an even coating. And then pretty much when the winch runs, it's also going to be dispersing all this grease into the spots that it should be in. And then also have this little piece which can get a nice coating on. And we'll put him, so this little bit goes in that end hole on the inside. There we go, so that's sitting in there nicely. And then we have this drive shaft which we'll clean off. And we'll just put a little bit of grease on the end, which which this then inserts into this little spline. We then have this, which we'll pack with a lot of grease, and then this will slot straight over like that. And then we can put this straight on like that. And make sure it sits properly on the bottom, and you should be able to spin it around on the inside of its housing. And that's just going to spread everything around. So I'm not too sure how well you can see that, but I was just spinning the inside around. So that's good, and now we'll begin with this even bigger one. Get it all nice and coated up, because this grease that we add on now is going to just keep this gearbox running a lot smoother and keep it at cooler temperatures too. So here, this is what the outer winch casing should look like, and you should be able to spin this and see the inside slowly spin. So that's much better than what it looked like originally. Now, next, we're going to coat the inside of both of these, including this. Doesn't really matter which way this goes in, it can go like that or like that. Then once all that's put back together, we'll slot that back in. So the inside of that is all nicely coated. Now we'll coat this, which hopefully I remember the correct way to put it back together. But hopefully not too tricky. Do all of this ring as well. And I'll have this put in just to make it a little bit easier. Then we can put this one in. There we go. Alright guys, so now we have it all put back together and greased up much nicer. So yeah, this is going to pop into the inside and you'll feel it pop in. And then that way you know everything's all good to go, and then you're ready to bolt it back up. Okay, so here's my winch mounting cradle, which I'm going to be putting onto the chassis rails of the car. This is a good guide now that I'm using it, so that I can have the clutch angled forwards, so I know that when I reach into the bull bar, I can grab onto that a lot easier than if it was like this, which is how it comes normally from the factory with the clutch on top. For when people want to reach down through their bull bar, I'm going to be coming front on, so I'm going to just have my clutch directly facing forward. Okay, for now I've just stood the winch up on its end, which is just going to make doing up these bolts a lot easier.